you, the leader, who has the sole responsibility to set the temperature, the tone, the tempo, and the culture of the organization. Hey, welcome again to the Amisi Leadership Podcast, where we are passionate about leadership. We build and equip people with high-capacity tools to drive societal transformation. We are persuaded that if we can take care of the leadership question, we'll be able to sort out so many things that are happening around us, either in church setting, either in a corporate setting, in a political setting. Many things are falling, and we are seeing them fall because of faulty leadership. And that's why it's important for us to start having leadership conversations so that we can start leading wherever we are. I told you last week, you don't need a title before or after your name to be able to lead. You can lead where you are. Join us in this leadership journey. Again, as usual, we call upon you if this is helping, benefiting you. We trust that you will be able to subscribe and share this podcast to as many people as possible. You'd want to know that we are on the major podcast platforms. We are on Google Podcasts, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. Please go ahead and share, go ahead and subscribe. We're on YouTube also. Go to our YouTube channel and be able to, like the page, like the channel, share the channel, then go ahead and subscribe so that we can reach as many people as possible. We've been talking about empowering, and today we get to bring a close to our empowerment podcast that we've done for the last couple of weeks. And last week we were able to bring in the three critical steps, the three critical things that need to happen for there to be effective empowerment. We challenged you last week and said, be an empowering leader. An empowering leader develops intentionally. And don't just develop, they train, they equip, but they go a step further and they believe in the people they're developing to an extent of giving them a platform for them to be able to execute that which they are learning. We said an empowering leader does not raise followers. An empowering leader raises leaders. You see, when you raise followers, you'll give them a task. You'll even go as far as giving them a position, but you never give them authority. Empowerment is simply enabling somebody to make decisions and to take action. Empowerment is giving people power, delegated authority to take tasks and to make decisions. We told you, if you're that kind of a leader who has to make all the decisions in the organization, there is a problem. There's a huge problem. You've got to delegate some certain decisions, decision-making responsibilities to people that you're developing. You do that, you'll be developing leaders because you're helping them to learn, to grow, and to get to even believe in themselves. We told you these three critical things. The first one was time. You've got to learn to spend time with your people. Give them not just a passive proximity to yourself, but it's got to be active, whereby you can be vulnerable, allow them to ask questions, allow them to pick lessons when they look at how you're handling people, handling situations, relating with people of all kinds. They're able to pick lessons. We told you last week that, listen, there are more lessons that are caught in leadership than could ever been taught in a class. We told you not just, allowing them that, but you've got to allow them to speak into the vision. They'll be strategizing for vision. Encourage creative expression. Encourage creative expression. And we also told you, allow them to learn and to pick values from you. You spend time. Then the other aspect was training. That training is critical. You've got to intentionally take them through a training process that is step by step. And we told you that training has several components, at least three key components. There has to be education, which is really about information. What information do they need to be better? There has to be equipping, which is really about skills and tools. What tools do they need for them to be able to maximize and fulfill the vision of the organization? There has to be experience. What platforms am I building for them to be able to thrive and to grow as leaders? So time, training. And then last week we introduced temperature, or setting the tone, which is really my creative way of talking about modeling culture, modeling and empowering culture. We told you last week that culture starts from the top. As a leader, it's your responsibility to set the tone, the temperature of the organization. Culture is developed and modeled by the leader. In fact, we told you last week that culture is the personality of the leader. We said it's so critical that the leader takes time to build an empowering, healthy culture in the organization. In fact, the fulfillment of the vision of the organization is so dependent on the kind of culture that you build as a leader. Nothing affects an organization's progress like the culture of that organization. You can have the best vision, the best strategy, but we've been told in the past that culture will eat vision and strategy for lunch and even for breakfast. It won't see the light of day. Culture, we told you last week, is the personality of the leader. It is the behavior of the leader. In fact, if you want to know the personality or the behavior of the leader, look at the culture of the people they are leading. Then you will know this is how the leader is all about. Culture is so powerful that if you don't put your tabs on it, you don't take care of it as a leader, then, like we said earlier, your vision will not see the light of the day. We told you it's different from vision and strategy because vision is about outcomes. It's about the bottom line. It's about the future of the organization, the destination of the organization, how the organization grows. Culture is about people, the most important asset in the organization, how people are treated, how people feel valued, how people relate with one another. Culture is about people. Culture, if toxic, you may not be able to touch it, but you'll smell it. You can smell it. If it's toxic, it dampens the morale of the people who are working and the people you're developing. If it's a disempowering culture, people are not stimulated. People are not pumped up for work. People are there for what they are getting, but they don't feel a sense of belonging because the culture is toxic. But a good culture, a thriving culture, a healthy culture in the organization will pump up the people. People will feel, I'm not just in here for the paycheck at the end of the month. I'm here because I understand the vision. I have bought the vision. I feel like I'm part of this vision. In fact, I feel like I'm a co-owner of this organization, of this vision. And I'm totally sold out to make sure that this vision is fulfilled. This vision sees the light of day. What encourages that? The thing that encourages that is a healthy, positive culture. Who builds that culture? Is it the people that you're developing? Is it the people at the bottom, at the mid-level? No. Culture is developed, modeled, and built by the leader himself or herself. It is the responsibility of the leader, and I reiterate, it is the responsibility of the leader to set the tone, to set the temperature. The leader determines whether it will be a negative temperature, whether it will be a disempowering temperature, or whether it will be an empowering temperature, whether it will be a disempowering culture, or whether it will be an empowering culture. That's the work of the leader, not the people that you're leading. It is your work. You've got to move heaven and earth, do everything to set the kind of culture that you want to see in your organization. It is your work. It is your responsibility. We looked and defined culture last week. Today we want to finish our talk, our conversation on culture by looking at the benefits of an empowering culture. Why is it so critical for you to build an empowering culture? What benefits? What is the importance of you as a leader putting your finger on this, putting your money and investment in building an empowering culture? And I say off the gates, number one benefit will be the fruition, the success of the vision. If you don't do it, there'll be no success to your vision. But let's pick a few benefits. And I told you culture is about people. Because when the culture is right, people feel valued. When people feel valued, they work harder. They get pumped up. There'll be less politics in the office. If you want to know the culture is disempowering, it is toxic, you listen to the amount of politics in the office. people backstabbing each other, people don't having anything good to say about one another. But if the culture is positive, there'll be less politics. Energy is not diverted. Energy is focused on the right thing. There's no dysfunctionality in the organization. People are playing as teammates. There's a lot of collaboration and relationship because people know the goal is more important than the role I'm playing in this organization. That comes as a result of an effective, healthy, thriving culture. I told you, it brings a greater sense of teamwork. It raises satisfaction levels. People have a sense of belonging. People have a sense of ownership. People are aligned to the vision. You're not in a situation whereby everybody is doing their own things. People pulling in different directions. So there's proper alignment to the vision of the organization. All the aspects and the divisions in the organizations and the departments of the organization, everyone is aligned. Why? Because the culture is healthy. It is not toxic. You see, when the culture is good, there's humility in the organization. People are humble. People treat each other well. People are able to value one another. There's no competition. People are complementing one another. Those are some of the benefits of a good, positive culture in the organization. The results then will be seen because culture and results cannot be separated. In fact, if you're thinking about the bottom line, I'll challenge you. Build a positive culture. You will get your results. But if you just work to build the results and you don't work on the culture, you'll always be wondering, how come I don't get? How come people are not as productive, are not as hardworking as they're supposed to be? You see, when culture is good, people are always looking forward to the next day to go to the office. When the evening hits, they're like, when am I coming back to this space? When am I coming back to this organization? Because I need to do that which brought me here. Because the culture is good. Culture is like fuel that propels an engine, and an engine is able to run faster, and achieve maximum result. That's what culture is. When the culture is good, we don't just focus, like I said, on products and outcomes. You start to focus also on the progress and the well-being of the people. People feel that they are valued. People feel that they're respected. People feel a sense of belonging. Listen to me, you that is watching and listening to this. Build a positive culture as the leader. You do that, it's like you'll be fueling the fulfillment of the vision of your organization. Don't you think anybody else will come and do that? No. It is you, the leader, who has the sole responsibility to set the temperature, the tone, the tempo, and the culture of the organization. The benefits of a positive culture are immense. The leader builds the culture. The people model after what the leader is building. A healthy, thriving culture is about the people. A healthy, thriving culture is about the values of the organization. Build it and see how far your organization will go. Thank you so much again for joining us today. Thank you. I pray that if this is beneficial to you, you won't just keep it to yourself. You will share this teaching. You'll share this podcast. Subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel, Oscar Amisi Leadership Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe and share it to as many people, especially those who are in a leadership space. Go to Spotify. Go to Google Podcast. Go to Apple Podcast. Subscribe and get your friends to do it. Join us in this journey of having these leadership conversations so that we can shape our leadership narrative for the better in the spaces that we find ourselves in. Like I will always say, if this teaching is benefiting you and you want to get more in greater detail, go to Amazon. Get my newest book, Seed It Out, How Great Leaders Become Great Leader Makers, because that's the work of a leader. This book will help you and tool you in your leadership journey to make you effective and a leader with impact as you lead those around you. I'll challenge you as you bring this to a close. Would you identify a few people that you can empower as a leader? Spend time with them, train them, and then set the temperature. model an empowering culture. See you again next week as we pick on a different topic on our Leadership Journey Talks. See you again. If you have a question, write in the chat. We'll be able to respond to you. Thank you so much once again. See you next week.